So welcome to AES Dublin, how are we doing? We're going to talk to Will Hoult of Focusrite about the latest products and software. So Will, we're going to see your stuff here at the AES. How have you been enjoying the show so far?
It's been a really good day so far today, so it's the first day of the show. I gave a presentation earlier today, it was called Dante Unmasked. So I went over some of the key aspects about Dante, some key do's, some key don'ts.
And you're talking about Dante in human terms, in real language, what humans understand?
Yeah,
what does it mean?
I start off on a very simple layer and then start getting deeper and more technical as the presentation goes on. So yeah, it's a pretty good topic for me to be talking about.
Great. And what is, in real terms, Dante? What does it mean to the normal person?
Good question. So Dante is an audio over IP implementation. It means that I can take a device that's got the Dante label written on it from any one of over 400 different manufacturers now, put it onto a standard network and make audio pass from one device to another.
Amazing. So audio over IP is the big thing here this year. In the very simplest terms, could you give an explanation to our audience?
Absolutely. So essentially, audio over IP allows us to take a standard network, like we use with our computers every day, and send audio back and forth across it in an uncompressed format from one to many devices using the same cabling that we're already familiar with. So it's a very low cost way of transmitting audio within a facility or within a site. It uses uncompressed audio formats, which means we're still getting the same quality out the other end that we put in at the front end. And really, it's just a much more easy to use, much more flexible system than any other point-to-point system that you could imagine, either an analog multi-core or, say, MkII or AES3 point-to-point system.
And you were saying about software as well.
Yeah, so we use RedNet Control as our software to tie together the system. So RedNet Control gives you one place to go to provide control of all of the different interfaces that are on your network within the Red or the RedNet range.
Awesome. And plugins, still got the Red plugins there?
Yeah, so Focusrite, we've got the Focusrite Red plugin suite. You get a license for those free of charge with any one of the Red or RedNet interfaces you see here. So yeah, it's a really nice EQ and compressor plugin that will run with your DAW. It's worth mentioning as well the devices which we don't have here today. So a lot of you Focusrite fans will be really familiar with the Scarlett range of USB audio interfaces. So they're not on our booth, it's a relatively small booth, and our focus today is audio over IP, but they're obviously a really important part of our company, of our product lineup. There's also the Clarett range of USB interfaces, which we're also very proud of too. So you can check those out on Focusrite.com. And if you want to have a look at some of these interfaces here, the Red and the RedNet range, they're over at pro.focusrite.com.
So Will, could you tell us about some of your products here?
Yeah, so this is the RedNet range that we've got in this rack here. So we've got RedNet MkII at the top here. That's our 8-channel remote control mic Prix. So this device is fully remote controllable across the network from RedNet Control software. It's also controllable from some of the Yamaha consoles like the CL, the QL range from those guys. Each channel has got an impedance switch, so it's set for 10K by default, but you can drop it down to 2.4K if you want. There's a 20 dB pad on each channel. We've obviously got level control on the front panel for that too. Phantom, as you'd expect, high pass filter on there as well, phase invert. And one of the really cool things about RedNet MkII is that each channel has a gain compensated output as well. So if I want to use one mic Prix to feed 2 different sources, and there are 2 different operators, I don't want there to be a scenario where I tweak the analog gain and the other engineer wasn't expecting that change. So we have the gain compensation on a second set of Dante transmitters there, which means that as I make changes in the analog domain, they're going to be counteracted in the digital and mean that the signal level is going to remain unchanged on the secondary set of outputs. A really nifty feature. It's going to give us some analog I/O, so we've got our RedNet A8R and the RedNet A16R. Each of those have got 8 and 16 channels of analog line I/O, as well as a pair of AES3 on there. We've then got our AES3 interface, which gives you 8 pairs in and 8 pairs out from the network and to the network. D64R, which is a really popular one, particularly in OB trucks, being able to provide MkII connectivity to the network. So it's going to give us 64 channels in and out over coax or over optical, with sample rate conversion on all of the inputs and the outputs. So really nice box, really flexible to be able to integrate with a lot of different systems. And then finally at the bottom here, we've got RedNet HD32R. That gives us 32 channels in and out of a Pro Tools HD system over the Digilink cable. So yeah, a fairly comprehensive range of devices that gives us a lot of connectivity options.
And Will, this red range looks beautiful. Could you tell us what these are all about?
Absolutely. So we have the Red 4 Prix at the top here, the Red 8 Prix, the Red 16 line. So this range of devices, they offer Thunderbolt connectivity to core audio applications within the Mac environment. They also offer Pro Tools HD connectivity on the Digilink port. All of them include 32 channels in and 32 channels out on the Dante audio over IP network. Each of them has 16 channels of ADAT in and out, 2 channels of SPDIF in and out, and then the main thing that differentiates each device from each other is the number of analog inputs and outputs. So the Red 4 Prix has 8 analog in and a total of 10 analog out. 4 of those inputs are MkIIs, so we've got 4 really high quality remote controlled MkIIs on there. On the 8 Prix, we have 16 channels in and 18 channels out analog. 8 of those are MkIIs on the input side, and again, fully remote controllable as you'd expect. Then finally on the 16 line side, that provides 16 in and 18 out analog. Great for connecting to outboard gear or maybe a console. And there are 2 MkIIs as the input capability on that one. So yeah, a fairly comprehensive range of devices that all integrate with the network side of things, as well as Pro Tools HD or with the core audio system. And what's really new at this show for these devices is that the RedNet control software is now controlling these 3 devices over the Thunderbolt port. So previously we had a separate application to the rest of the RedNet range. That's now all being done within the same application, making it easier than ever to integrate your Red interface with the wider RedNet network. We've brought a number of other features along as well. So we now offer MIDI control of the microphone preamplifiers in the Red range, which is a really great thing to be able to do, as well as having views within the software which provide metering of all inputs and outputs simultaneously. So it's quite an important update for us, something that we've been really pleased to finally get out to all of our customers and to any future customers of the Red range.
And Will, you were saying about control coming out of Thunderbolt. That's only Macintosh, or you're including the PC there, of course?
So that's a really good question. So currently, on the Red range of devices, they're only supported for the Mac operating system. However, we are working on a Windows driver, and that's something that we'd really like to release soon. So keep an eye on pro.focusrite.com for the latest updates on that situation.
Okay, brilliant. These 2 at the top, what's the story with those?
So here we have RedNet AM2 on the left-hand side and RedNet X2P on the right-hand side. So RedNet AM2, this is a stereo receiver for our network, so it's based on Dante again. This box gives us 2 channels of output. We can send those to a line output on a pair of XLRs on the back with their own level control and their own mute switch. There's also a headphone amplifier on there which gets very loud if you want it to. Plug that in on the 1/4 inch output on the front, and you've also got a level control specifically for that there. It's power over Ethernet supplied, which means that I can plug it in with 1 cable to deliver the audio, the clocking, and the power to the device. It's also got a mic stand mount in the bottom, so if I want to put it on a stand, keep it off to the side, it's a really nice option to be able to do so. Then RedNet X2P is its bigger brother essentially. RedNet X2P is a 2-in, 2-out audio interface for the Dante network. It's got 2 microphone preamplifiers, the same mic pre's that you'll find in our Red and RedNet range of devices. It also has the option for those being used for line input or to connect, say, an instrument input from a guitar, for example. They're controlled from the front panel and also remotely. We then have 2 outputs on the device as well. Again, line outputs or a headphone output. There's an LCD screen on the panel which allows you to see the settings for the mic pre's as well as for the outputs. Gives you metering on there too. And as I mentioned, it's fully remote controllable, which means that I can deploy it on the studio floor and still have control of that over the network. But if I want to make changes on the device itself, I can do so from there. Another thing worth talking about is there is a very basic mixer on the device. So I can mix between the local inputs coming in on analog and the inputs coming in from the network, which means if I want a bit more me in my microphone, from my microphone going to my headphones, I can just make a little tweak there and get a little bit of that in there. Power over Ethernet supplied, and again mounts on a mic stand if I want it to. So very flexible device, very powerful device.
And if people want to know any more about this, where do they go?
They go to pro.focusrite.com.